My biggest investment is finally paying off. By this time tomorrow, every major asset she owns will be tied to me. After the wedding, she'll trust me enough to sign anything.
9 years, that was how long Amara gave him. 9 years of unwavering love, quiet sacrifice, and believing that together they will build forever. She never imagined that forever could disappear in a single night. When Tunde entered her life, he had nothing except ambition. She saw potential where everyone here saw failure. While others laughed at his dream, she became the only person who refused to give up on him. She guaranteed his business loan with her own property. She invested her savings into his company. She introduced him to powerful clients. Every door opened for him, opened because Amara quietly held it open. The years passed. The small business that struggles to pay its bills becomes one of the fastest growing companies in the city. People admired today. They praised his determination. They called him his self-made success. Only Amara knew how many nights she had to stay awake, making sure his dreams never died. When Tunde bought his first luxury car, everyone celebrated him. When he moved into a beautiful mansion, people applauded his success. No one knew that most of it had been built on the sacrifices of the woman standing quietly beside him. She never asked for reconciliation. His happiness was enough. 9 years together, 9 birthdays, 9 anniversaries, 9 years of promises. When Tunde finally proposed, Amara believed every sacrifice has been worth it. She said yes without hesitation. She had no reason to doubt the man she loved. The wedding became the talk of both families. Guests traveled from different cities. Designers delivered expensive outfits. The venue sparkled with gold and with white decorations. Everything pointed towards a perfect beginning. No one imagined it would become an unforgettable ending. On the evening before the ceremony, their home was peaceful. Soft music floated through the living room. Amara carefully arranged the final wedding gift while smiling to herself. Across the room, Tunde glanced at his phone. A message appeared. He quietly stood up. "I will be back in a minute," he said. Amara simply nodded. A few minutes later, Amara remembered she had forgotten to ask him something about the guest list. She walked quietly towards his study. The door was not completely closed. Before she could knock, she heard her name. She froze. Then came the words that shattered 9 years of trust. Tunde laughed into the phone. His voice was relaxed, confident, completely unaware that the woman he planned to betray was standing only a few steps away.
My biggest investment is finally paying off. By this time tomorrow, every major asset she owns will be tied to me. After the wedding, she'll trust me enough to sign anything.
His mother's voice cracked through the speaker. "And the properties?" Tunde laughed again. "Everything is already in motion. Once we are married, changing a few signatures wouldn't be difficult." There was no hesitation, no guilt, only calculation. Then came the words that cut the deepest. "She's old cargo anyway. We will keep her comfortable anyway, but I'm not giving up my freedom. I will still see whoever I want." The room suddenly felt cold. Amara closed her eyes, not because she was weak, but because she refused to let him hear her breathe. For a few seconds, she could not move. 9 years. Every sacrifice, every late night, every prayer she had whispered for his success. Had it all be part of someone else's plan? She asked herself. A single tear escaped. She wiped it away before it reaches her cheek. That would be the last tear she cried for Tunde. From that moment, her heart stopped breaking and her mind stopped working. Without making a sound, Amara quietly turned around. Every step she took away from that door felt different. She was no longer walking as a bride. She was walking as a woman, protecting everything she had built. She entered the kitchen. The aroma of Tunde's favorite meal still filled the room. A few moments earlier, she had been cooking to celebrate their future. Now she was cooking to protect her own. She picked up her phone, scrolled to one name, and made a call. "Good morning, barrister. I need you at my house tonight." There was a brief silence. Then she added, "It's urgent." Less than 30 minutes later, headlights swept across the front of the mansion. A black SUV rode quietly through the gates. Barrister Adebayo had arrived. He was not just Amara's lawyer. He had protected her businesses since the very beginning. One look at Amara's face told him everything. "You have been crying," he said gently. Amara shook her head. "No, I have been learning." For the first time that night, she repeated every word she had overheard. When she finished, the room fell silent. Barrister Adebayo slowly removed his glasses. "I have warned people for years," he said. "Greed always speaks too much." Then he looked directly at her. "Do you still intend to marry him tomorrow?" Amara answered without hesitation, "No." The lawyer opened his briefcase. Inside were neatly organized files. He placed several documents on the table. "Fortunately," he said calmly, "nothing has been signed yet." Amara leaned forward. For the first time since the phone call, she felt hope. For the next 2 hours, every property was revealed. Every investment was checked. Every business shed was examined. Piece by piece, they rebuilt the wall that betrayal had almost broken. Then the lawyer smiled. "I have no idea. It is completely legal. It protects everything you have built. And if Tunde signed those papers willingly, he will have no one to blame but himself." Amara looked at him quietly. "What do I have to do?" The lawyer explained everything in details. Not a single forget signature, not a single illegal move. Just carefully prepared documents, written in plain language, documents that an honest man would read, but a greedy man would ignore. As dawn slowly approached, Amara stood by the window. The pain was still there, but no longer controlled her. She had lost the man she thought she knew. She would not lose herself, or everything she had worked so hard to build. The first light of morning filled the house. From upstairs came the sound of running water. Tunde was getting ready for what he believed would be the happiest day of his life. Downstairs, Amara quietly arranged breakfast. If anyone had walked into the room, they would have thought everything was perfectly normal. A few minutes later, Tunde walked into the dining room with a broad smile. "You woke up early," he said. Amara smiled back. "I want today to begin peacefully." He had no idea these words carried a completely different meaning. As they ate, he spoke about flowers, the reception, their honeymoon. Tunde laughed easily. Amara listened quietly. Every smile she gave was measured. Every word was carefully chosen. She was not pretending to love him. She was protecting her peace until the right moment. When breakfast ended, Amara picked up a slim folder from the table. "There are a few documents our lawyer prepared," she said calmly. "They are routine matters before the ceremony." Tunde barely looked at the cover. He reached for a pen. Amara slid the folder towards him. "Take your time," she said. "Read everything if you like." Tunde smiled confidently. There will not be any surprise. He flipped through the pages quickly. His eyes skipped over paragraph after paragraph. He signed where he chose to sign, not because anyone rushed him, but because he believed he already knew everything. Amara thanked him and closed the folder. Then she placed it gently into her briefcase. Nothing about her expression changed, but inside, she knew the foundation of everything she had built was finally secure. Outside, wedding guests were beginning to arrive. Luxury cars lined the driveway. Friends and family greeted one another with excitement. No one suspected that the celebration they had come to witness would never begin. Amara took one final look at the house. 9 years of memories live within these walls. Some deserves to be cherished. Others were about to be left behind forever. She picked up her phone and made one final call. "Barrister, it's time." Soft music echoed through the room. Guests laughed, exchanged greetings, and admired the elegant decorations. To everyone present, it looked like the beginning of a beautiful love story. Only one person knew it was actually the end. Tunde stood confidently with his groomsmen. His tailor white suit fit perfectly. He smiled for photographers, accepted congratulations, and thanked everyone for coming. The future he had imagined seems only few minutes away. He had no idea. It was already clipping through his fingers. Inside the bridal suit, Amara sat quietly before the mirror. Her wedding dress was breathtaking. The makeup artist made a final adjustment. Bridesmaids admired how beautiful she looked. No one noticed that her eyes carried a calm they had never seen before. She was not preparing to become a wife. She was preparing to reclaim her future. Her maid of honor leaned closer. "Nervous?" Amara smiled softly. It was not a lie. She was nervous. She was about to change the course of her life. Across the venue, Barrister Adebayo arrived. He carried a slim leather briefcase. He greeted the families politely, then took a seat near the front. To everyone else, he was simply a respected guest. Only Amara knew he was there for something much bigger. The master of ceremonies stepped forward. "Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. The bride is about to make her entrance." The music changed. Every guest stood. Every camera turned towards the grand doors. The room fell silence. The door slowly opened. Amara appeared radiant, elegant, and graceful. She walked with steady confidence. Every step echoed through the silent hall. Tunde smiled proudly. He believed she was walking towards him. He didn't realize she was walking towards the truth. She reached the front. She looked into Tunde's eyes for a brief moment. The entire world seemed to disappear. Then she turned, not towards the officiant, not towards the guests, but towards the microphone. The room held its breath. Amara gently adjusted the microphone. Her hands were steady, her breathing was calm. The entire hall waited. Some guests smiled, expecting wedding vows. Others lifted their phones, ready to capture the perfect moment. Instead, they witnessed a moment no one would ever forget. She looked around the room, at her parents, at students' family, at the friends who had traveled from across the country. Then she smiled gently. "Thank you all for coming today. I know many of you have sacrificed your time and traveled long distance to celebrate with us. I will never forget that kindness." The room remained silent. No one understood where she was going. She turned towards Tunde for the first time that day. She looked directly into his eyes. "I love you with everything I had. I believed every promise. I believed every dream we built together. And if love alone could build a marriage, we would already have a lifetime together." Tunde's smile slowly disappeared. Amara took a slow breath. "Last night, I overheard a conversation. I was not looking for secrets, but the truth found me." A ripple spread through the audience. People exchanged uneasy glances. Even the musicians slowed their instruments. I heard plans that no bride should ever hear. I heard my name spoken with disrespect. I heard my future discussed as though it was a business transaction. And I realized I was preparing to marry a man who loved my success more than he loved me. The silence became almost unbearable. Tunde finally stepped forward. "Amara, please, whatever you think you heard, I can explain." His voice trembled. For the first time in 9 years, confidence abandoned him. Amara looked at him with compassion, not anger, not hatred, only acceptance. She quietly shook her head. No, Tunde. The saddest part is that I heard enough. There was nothing left to explain because the truth had already spoken for him. She removed the wedding ring from her finger. For a brief moment, she hid it in her palm. 9 years of memories, 9 years of sacrifice, 9 years of hope. Then she gently placed the ring into Tunde's hand. I cannot marry someone I cannot trust. The hall remained completely silent. Tunde stared at the ring in his palm. For 9 years, he had imagined this moment differently. He thought she would walk towards him. He thought the guests would applaud. He thought the rest of his life was already secured. Now he could not even lift his eyes. His mother suddenly stood. Amara. Her voice echoed through the hall. You cannot destroy 9 years of relationship because of one conversation. Amara slowly turned towards her. I did not destroy anything. I discovered what was already broken. You have everything, Amara. Why won't you embarrass my son like this? Amara remained calm. Because having everything does not mean I should give everything to someone who does not respect me. Her words silenced the room. Barrister Adebayo stood from his seat. The room immediately became quiet. He walked towards Amara carrying his leather briefcase. Then he turned towards both families. Before everyone makes assumptions, there are a few things you need to understand. He opened the briefcase. Amara businesses, her properties, her investments, and every asset she owned before this marriage remained hers. Tunde's face changed. He suddenly remembered the document he had signed that morning. Tunde looked at Amara. You knew? You knew what I was planning? Amara did not answer immediately. Then she said, I knew enough to protect myself. He looked towards Barrister Adebayo. The documents, the lawyer nodded. You were given the opportunity to read them, and you chose not to. Tunde lowered his head. His own arrogance had betrayed him. Amara looked around the hall one final time. I'm not standing here to punish anyone. I'm standing here because I finally understand my worth. I love Tunde, but loving someone should never require you to abandon yourself. She turned away from the altar. Her wedding day was over, but her life was just beginning. She walked away, no tears, no screaming, no revenge, just a woman choosing herself. Outside the venue, Amara stopped for a moment. She looked towards the morning sky. 9 years had been taken from her, but not her future. She smiled softly. Sometimes, the greatest blessing is not getting the person you prayed for. Sometimes, it is discovering who they really are before you give them the rest of your life. Months later, Amara businesses were stronger than ever. She expanded into new markets. She bought another property, and most importantly, she learned to trust herself again. As for Tunde, he eventually understood the truth. He had not lost Amara because she was too difficult to love. He lost her because he believed her kindness made her weak. And that was the most expensive mistake of his life. Never confuse someone's kindness with weakness. Never mistake someone's silence for ignorance. And never assume that because someone loves you, they will allow you to destroy them. Because sometimes the quiet person in the room has already made the decision that will change everything. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And subscribe to AI by Greatness for more powerful African stories filled with wisdom, emotion, and unforgettable life lessons. Thank you.